Hey, everybody, welcome to Bearded Baker Banter. It's a sports podcast. Welcome, Trent, and welcome, Trey.
Hello. How's it going, fellas?
I feel like I just crawled from underneath a rock. No NFL anymore. What are we
I don't
doing?
know. I'm glad we are recording this, though, because I definitely can't wait to show the Trent little happy dance.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, Trey's jamming over there again. Here we go.
Back to my ads. They always pop out of right when we start recording.
Hey, check. Beta test. Check. Just kidding. No. All right. So, hey, we got a couple things here to talk about. We obviously had kind of a big football game this past weekend. Sad football game.
The biggest football game. What do you mean, kind of a big?
It
was a joke. Relax. Yeah. A little Super Bowl recap. We're still going to talk a little NFL. All right, we got a little cool segment here to kind of discuss with some of the teams that were in the playoffs that we'll go through. And we are going to start getting into the madness of March, college basketball. So we're going to talk a little college basketball stuff. We'll get into some teams, some picks, and what we like, what we don't like right now. Because tell you what, it's kind of hitting stride a little bit here with some craziness in terms of some of these games here. So we're definitely going to get into that. So, Trent, you want to get us going here with some NFL, some football stuff? Obviously, let's start with Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess I'll give my opinion of the game. I know, to the non-football fans, a lot of people thought the game was boring. Not a whole lot of touchdowns scored throughout the game until late, obviously, especially very, very late to end the game. But I loved the game. I thought it was, I don't know, you found yourself completely on edge. I was obviously openly cheering for the Niners as a Raiders fan. However, it was clear as day what was going to happen. The fact that you could hold Patrick Mahomes to 3 points in the first half and you only have 10, that was just like, hey, this is scripted. I'm not saying it was fixed, but it was the perfect setup for what the Chiefs have done. Is they're not blowing teams out this whole year. They're able to grind games out. When they can't get a rhythm going, they rely on their defense. And you know what? All Patrick Mahomes has to do is make the plays in the biggest moments, where every team's a little bit tight. And he did it again. And as sick as it makes me as a football fan, as a Raiders fan, but also, Tyler, with that being your team and hearing how upset your son was too, that was tough. But it
was tough.
Yeah. But you know what? It's like you just, I don't know. I'm going to give, the week before we talked about, who has most to gain, who has most to lose. I have something to mention about most to lose because I know who Trey is going to say has lost a lot from this week. But I'm going to tell you somebody who we did not mention who has a heck of a lot gained from this game, and it is Steve Spagnuolo. I think
he just got an extension too.
Yeah, and you know what? He's accepted the fact, and I think we're seeing this in the game of football all around, where people aren't really trying to be head coaches at the NFL. Well, I'm not saying majority aren't, but I'm saying there's a weird shift right now in college and in the NFL where people are actually more content saying, "I'm just going to be a coordinator. Let me just focus on that." And Steve Spagnuolo is a guy who now, guys, keep this in mind, 4 Super Bowls. That to me, as an assistant coach, I don't know if assistant coaches can get in the Hall of Fame, but that to me as a defensive coordinator is probably one of the best in the history. Would you not agree?
Can you also mention too the fact that their linebackers coach now has 6 Super Bowls because he used to be a linebackers coach for the Patriots.
There you go.
Wow. So and when I saw that on social media, and I'm like, I've never even actually heard of this guy. But they said he has 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So
I would say that was my that to me, I've kind of adjusted because I said, biggest winner could be, obviously anybody on the Chiefs is big because now their dynasty is confirmed, right? Good for them. I hope it ends terribly soon. But Steve,
are they at 4 now? 4 Super Bowls?
4 total, yeah.
4 total. 3 in 5 years though. 3 and 5
Right,
years.
but I'm saying they have 4 overall.
Yes.
Yeah, they probably won one way back in the day against like the Acme Packers or something like that. But no,
Okay, don't take away from those.
it's a long time. Oh yeah, that's right. You're counting this.
Acme Packers. What is this, Looney Tunes?
With Trey Packers ownership.
Yeah, that is technically.
Thank you. I'm a historian too.
So it was Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Hey, I guess.
Trey said Bugs Bunny at the halftime show.
Trey, you could go ahead. Your takeaway, or
I mean,
wait, hold on. We're canceling Trey's takeaway. We're not. He's not talking about
here we go. Here we go. No, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay as neutral and take this from an unbiased perspective. I know some things I say might be taken as biased, but just trying to look at it as in the most neutral way as possible.
Trey, this is like somebody saying, "Hey, no offense, but you're dumb as heck." Like it's like this is going to be unbiased. Tyler,
this is a no offense comment.
It's going to sound like bias.
No, I am talking about this game solely as a football fan and a football observer. It's quite known that I do not like the 49ers. I'm a Packers fan. They own us in the playoffs. So, yeah, I have a sour taste in my mouth about the 49ers. But that being said, I'm going to give as unbiased as a recap of this game as I can. I think Trent, you touched on it. The beginning of this game, the first half could have been considered boring, but to me, it was entertaining to watch just the defense kind of stifle each other, right? Like, who's going to score first? Who's going to get hot first? Where's the momentum going to kind of take a turn? And I mean, for the first half there, you had a couple turnovers where it was like, oh, here we go. Like 49ers are going to kind of run away with it and get hot here. And the Chiefs, credit to them, they 3 and out. They get the ball back, punt. Like it was back and forth both ways. So, like it could have been considered boring, but I found it more entertaining than a game that was just kind of shootout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, I'm also going to echo another thing Trent said, which is you held Patrick Mahomes to 3 points, right? And he got those 3 points in the last minute of the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, anything other, all you had to do was just score. That's all you had to do, and that game was in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And Trey, I'm pretty sure it wasn't first possession of the second half. They had like a crazy bad pitch fumble,
right?
And then he even threw a pick, and they got no points.
Yeah, it was. And Patrick Mahomes himself.
I think they got 3.
No, they didn't, because Patrick Mahomes himself brought that up as a turning point in the game. He said, "I threw an interception, and our defense gave us a 3 and out right away and kept us in it." Yep. That being said, the second half was obviously there was more points scored, but also just disappointing from the 49ers, I think, to be honest with you.
Three total yards in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's just you can't do that. And I think a lot of that is they got away from Christian McCaffrey in the third quarter, which didn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
So overall, I think just you let Patrick Mahomes kind of stay in it, right? Like you gave him multiple possessions without scoring and everything. And when you have a quarterback of that caliber, you can't do that in big games. So the one stat that kind of stood out to me a ton in this game was, Dre Greenlaw going out was huge, right?
And did you guys watch the Fred Warner clip yet?
Yeah.
With him and Bosa on the sideline, dude. Like, you want to talk about a close team? Warner's like in tears.
Yeah.
And Bosa's like, man, we got to go get it for him, dude. Like, man, that's like heart-wrenching.
and Tyler, I think I said it to you in the first couple drives. Dre Greenlaw was bouncing around and jumping and celebrating like a madman. And at one point, I was going to say it out loud, but I didn't. But I was like, man, he's going to hurt himself like Grammatica, that one, the Cardinals kicker. Like the way he's jumping around and doing crazy.
So you thought that into existence?
No, I did not. But here's something just to kind of reiterate that point is Oren Burks is, I guess, who filled in for Dre Greenlaw after that.
Yeah.
So defensively, there were 9 targets towards his way. He allowed 9. He allowed 9 catches. He allowed 1 touchdown, a passer rating of 134.7, and a 32.1 coverage grade. So you go from having a great game-changing linebacker to someone that was a hole in your defense.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I noticed is that the Chiefs did a really good job they kept returning to a certain package or a certain play that was successful for them in like 3rd and short, which was the zone read with Patrick Mahomes and the running back. And then they'd also either motion someone or they'd send someone out into the flat. So whenever Mahomes would keep the ball, he could dump it out for the 1-yard flat to Kelsey or the wide out that was out there, or he could keep it. And I think it was 3 or 4 different times in 3rd and short, and the game-winning touchdown of the game. They kept coming back to that play, and the 49ers had no answer for it.
Can I kind of speak to that linebacker point real quick? There was a report today that supposedly, because I think he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season unless he hangs out with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But there is talk that the Niners are going to be going after Azeez Al-Shaair, the linebacker that was with San Fran, who was the number 3 linebacker there for a while. That kind of rotated in with Warner and Dre. I guess his time with Tennessee is up, like in terms of contract stuff. So suppose they're going to go after him again to come back with the Niners, but because I don't think Burks is coming back, and I don't think the other guy's coming. The Flanagan guy's coming back because
you guys just need depth. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. I think can I kind of run with what you were saying too, and kind of back off, going off of Trent too, is I think the one with the most to lose here was obviously Steve Wilks.
Yeah,
I disagree.
And honestly, I've had
and you know what? That was a scapegoat. That's what that was.
100%.
That was the same as the Bills firing their defensive or their offensive coordinator and stuff that one game.
Here's a hot take though. The hot take is that we won the Super Bowl. I think Wilkes was gone. We lost the Super Bowl. I think Wilkes was gone. There was something brewing between Shanahan and him. And if you look at the one play in overtime when Shanahan called timeout and he's cursing into his microphone and his headset about like, what are we doing here in terms of coverage? You had 5 guys that were beyond the sticks on the first down on 3rd and 6. Shanahan called timeout and said, what the hell are we doing here? Like with all that room underneath for their guys to run, which they do all the time with Kelsey and all the other tight ends that they run, I think it was a long time coming. And when Shanahan said it just wasn't the right fit, I don't really know how to interpret that. I mean, the guy's a heck of a coach. I mean, there's no denying that. You know what I mean? He's a great defensive coordinator. I mean, we had the 3rd best defense in the league technically, and you just fired him. Like,
well, that's what I was going to say, Tyler. Is he technically?
I don't think that would have occurred if there wasn't something big behind it. So I do think that I don't know. That's my opinion. But
can I give my take on that whole situation? Yeah. One, a lot of talk is that you saw a little bit of a fiery moment in that game. I actually think it was even more about them showing cover 0 and bringing the house against Mahomes, which he's known on 3rd down to pick that apart. But right. But I also kind of get the sense of like, every D coordinator that Shanahan has had is a guy that has yet to be like at the top of a franchise, right? D'Amico Ryans was not a head coach ever. Robert Saleh was not a head coach ever. Wasn't there a really good one before him too? I forget, but I think Robert Saleh was there for a long time. Now I think that
Saleh was there.
Like those really good D coordinators that Shanahan had were still young guys in the coaching realm of things, and Steve Wilks has that head coaching experience where I think they just butt heads.
Interim.
Yeah. So I think. Well, was he not the head coach of the Cardinals at one point? I think he was.
I thought he was last year.
No, he was interim head coach for the Panthers last year, but I'm pretty sure he was head coach of the Cardinals at one point. But
get the stat guys on it real quick.
Besides the fact, it's the thing that I just think it was a little bit different in the sense of like there was definitely some finger pointing throughout the year early on, right? What did Shanahan make him do? Oh, hey, you got to come out of the box. You got to come down the field. Like we're on a 3-game losing streak, and you're the reason why this 3-game losing streak is occurring. We lose the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes, and we disagreed in the Super Bowl, and I didn't like what you're doing, so we're gonna fire you. It is scapegoat. I just don't think Shanahan is going to hire somebody that has potential to be bigger, and it's not even him; it's Lynch. If they do, then I think, Trey, you're right. If they do hire a Vrabel, a Belichick, who's the other one, Ty, that we put out there?
Rex Ryan.
Ryan.
If you do that, that is John Lynch sending a message saying the next guy is not your D coordinator going or offense. It is you going. I don't think. I mean, that's where I know, Ty, you think you might get a Belichick. I don't. I think that's bad news for Kyle Shanahan. That'd be very bad news for Kyle Shanahan.
The other name floating out there is Brandon Staley.
He was on the Packers radar too.
Real quick, stat guys found that you're right, Trent. He was the head coach of the Cardinals in 2018.
Quick. Yeah, I was gonna say you got fired pretty quick.
So just to touch on the Steve Wilkes thing before we move on from that. Technically, he had the best defensive season of the previous defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
So he had a better season than any season Robert Saleh had. He had a better season than what DeMeco Ryans had. And yet there he is gone. And Trent, to kind of echo what you said, I think, we joked about it earlier when Tyler said Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat this year at the beginning of the season. But now tables have turned a little bit, and Kyle Shanahan's seat is a little warm. It absolutely is. And Trent, you know what? He has success in the 49ers. He's great. He gets to the NFL or NFC championships, gets to the Super Bowls. But the problem is when you have that repetitive success and you don't win the big game, unfortunately, that does hurt you a little bit too. Kyle Shanahan,
he's been there 7 years. 7 years.
Yeah,
just saying.
And
he's been in. Okay, and how long's LaFleur been there, and what's he got to show?
Oh, I mean, you just
a couple of losses to the Niners in the playoffs. Like, I mean, come on,
took the youngest team in NFL history to much higher than what they ever should have accomplished. But
a name to keep an eye out for. Go ahead.
To touch on Shanahan, and a reason why he's in the hot seat is in the big games, in the fourth quarter, or I'm sorry, in the second half, he's of Super Bowls and everything. This is even before the 49ers. He's outscored 24-79. That's awful.
Yeah,
you're not going to win games like that. You're tripling. You're letting the opponent triple your points scored in the last quarter and overtime.
I get it, Trey, and I know I've even said like there's potential. Like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of criticism for the statistics that are out there on Shanahan. But don't forget this same talk that we're bringing up, and Trey, you're talking about right now, was brought up about that Super Bowl winning coach this past weekend.
Andy Reid. You're right.
Andy Reid, 2001, 2, 3, and 4. He was NFC Championship for 3 straight years, lost every one. Gets to the Super Bowl, loses it. It took him 15 years later to actually
and a team change.
I get that, but it also doesn't mean that like I don't want, you can't sit there and say like Shanahan's not a good coach. Like that guy's gonna get one. He's got.
I'm not saying that, but
gonna get one.
All I'm saying is when you've gotten there how many times and you can't win the big one, unfortunately, that's a failure in the eyes of John Lynch.
I think they're there back again next year. I mean, I don't see anybody in the NFC that's going to actually truly challenge them.
Real quick, a name to keep an eye out though for the defensive coordinator here is Chris Kasurik, defensive line coach for the Niners. He's been there for 5 years. He's kind of the heart and soul. He's been with all this defensive lineman guys here all throughout, since Bose and all them. He's a name that I've also been seen floating around. He was a name that actually came up too, even before DeMeco Ryans got the job. And again, just to kind of go back with what he's able to do with that defensive line now. Is it the talent of them? Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. Overall, Tyler, I know it's not the outcome you wanted, but there were times where all three of us were standing and on the edge of our seats with that game, with third down, fourth downs, everything. It was. I told my fiance this. I go, I know it wasn't necessarily what everyone wanted to see, but that was a great football game from the start to finish. Right, great defense, great offense.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, the game ended with 2 seconds left in overtime. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just
first overtime period.
Right. Yeah. Which hold on, and that's the other thing that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the overtime and how one team was completely down set with exactly what they were doing. We're deferring. We're going for 2 if we get the ball back and we do score. Hell, the 49er players didn't even know the new rule.
Some didn't.
But Tyler, that's a problem. If not everyone on your team knows what the rules are of the game that you're playing in, that's a problem. Whereas
maybe we gotta stop changing them every freaking year.
Well, okay. Well,
Goodell.
that's on Kyle Shanahan. That's not on Goodell, because you hear the Chiefs players. You heard the Chiefs players say that they prepared for it before week 1. They talked about what happens if we have an overtime game in the playoffs. Andy Reid had multiple. Everyone was on the same page. There was no question by any player. Whereas the 49ers, Kyle Juszczyk says, "Yeah, I didn't even know they changed the rules." That's awful. That can't be as a head coach. And I know that they have a lot on their plate, but that's something you got to address.
Can I ask you guys a question? What's the point of having a clock during overtime?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like, if it's just you have the ball, go down and score. If the team doesn't match you, you win. Or if the team does better than you, you win. Like, what was the point? Like, are you going to go to another halftime after 2 quarters of play? Like, because if the Chiefs would have ran out of time, it didn't matter. So why are they even running it's just go play? Like, I was just trying to figure that out. Like, what the heck's the point?
Yeah, the clock thing doesn't really matter. You're right.
So, like, why do it?
I don't understand.
Just so they can talk about how many overtime periods they went to, probably.
Yeah, but just go by possessions. Like, that's what college does.
Sports gambling,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but think about that. They were 2 seconds away from Schefter's tweet being true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no double overtime bets. I don't believe. I think it's mostly just overtime or not. But that was weird. That was a very weird situation overall, because we were even talking about it like it wouldn't be bad because your defense could be tired. But now that you look at it and say, everybody's an expert when you can look back at the situation. Like, there's no discussion of this. Oh my God, I couldn't believe they take it. If the Niners, walk the game off and win, right? They're not even going to say it. They're just going to. It just doesn't happen.
That's the thing, though, Trent, is they couldn't have walked the game off and won. That's why it was a dumb decision.
Yes, they could have.
How?
No, Niners couldn't have.
No, I'm talking about if they kick their field goal. And let's say they do hold the Chiefs to 4 downs and out.
That's not a walk-off.
You're walking off winners after that. I'm not talking about you can't score and then walk off. I'm talking like if the Niners would have won and stopped the Chiefs, I don't think this overtime of taking the ball, not taking the ball is even spoken of.
The reason why it is spoken of is because the Chiefs, no matter what, knew that they had 4 downs on their possessions, right? Whereas the Niners now have to make a decision. Are we only playing with 3 downs, or are we going to go for it on 4, not get it, and let the Chiefs kick a field goal? Whereas the Chiefs, no matter what, they know exactly what they have in front of them. So it's a mentality advantage is what it is.
Even Tony Romo didn't sit there and say it was a mistake taking the ball. I'm just saying, like, it was all hindsight.
How many NFC championships has Tony Romo been to, Trent?
I'll be honest though. I would have taken the ball too the way that they did.
No, you don't. You don't.
It was the defense was just on for a whole drive.
Nah, Tyler, you still don't like anymore. Like, but Trey, it was the first time ever. So like nobody really. Oh, you're right. This was dumb. You know what I mean? It's
well, Trent. It's the first time ever, and they didn't even prepare for it. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Hey, you know what? As you would think as a coach that you'd want to prepare them for everything possible. But I mean that's I don't know. I find it frustrating because I once again just say I don't think we're talking about it if it goes differently.
The last thing I want to say about the game is it feels like for the last 2 Super Bowls, the Chiefs have stolen a victory. Because you look back at the Eagles game, the Eagles are a better team. They had a better statistical performance than the Chiefs that game, yet the Chiefs won. Yeah. Same thing here. The 49ers have all 10 all pros on either side of the ball. They up to head to toe of the roster is so much better than the Chiefs. Yet the Chiefs hung in it and then they stole a Super Bowl victory. It just felt like a repeat of last year. And it was for the Chiefs, but I'm just saying in terms of the losing team was a better team and they should have won.
Defensive coordinator adjusted.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Went from zone to man. It was over.
Let's move to the next segment here that we're going to look at some of the playoff teams that were in the playoffs this past year. We'll kind of talk about, what the future looks like for them. We'll also kind of touch a little bit on maybe some other teams and stuff that might have some opportunities, kind of discuss this stuff. But what do you guys want to do? You guys want to start AFC, roll over to NFC, and we'll just kind of work down?
The way we're going to do this is we're going to have one person pretty much just kind of flat out answer about these teams that made the playoffs, like Ty, you just said. But we're going to pretty much make it a this or that in the sense of do they have a better chance to make the Super Bowl next year, or is there a better chance for them to miss the playoffs? So kind of two extremes, no in-betweens. But, if you're going to say they're going to miss the playoffs, you better have a pretty good reason why, because all these teams in the playoffs seem to show up quite often as of late. So, Trey, let's start you off here.
Ooh, put me on the spot. What's my team? Who's my team?
Trey, I'm going to go. Your team is the Houston Texans.
Oh, that's an easy one. I'm going to go much more likely to make the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
Than to miss the playoffs. Well, now I think of it, it's not that easy.
That was so quick. Easy.
Super easy.
I'm backing down.
Well, no, the reason why I say that is because you think of CJ Stroud, you think of D'Amico Ryans, and all the young. They have offensive, defensive rookie of the years for is this the third year or second year in a row that happened?
You mean being on the same team?
Right. Yeah.
It's at least the second. It was the Jets the year before.
Yeah. So you look at that and you think, how could they not? Right? They didn't give a game to the Ravens, but they hung in at least for the first half with a very inexperienced Texans team. And I do think CJ Stroud is legitimate. He's going to have a successful career with his decision making. His accuracy is top notch. The only reason, so I'm going to stick to that they're more likely to make the Super Bowl. The only reason why I had a little bit of doubt is I think that division is kind of up and coming. You got the Jags who have underperformed for multiple years, but they still have Trevor Lawrence and the talent there.
Is Trevor Lawrence a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think so for now. I mean, he's got a young career. Come on. We're giving Justin Herbert all these years. You got to give Trevor Lawrence these years too. So you got that, and then you got the Titans, who I guess you can consider them in a rebuild, but they have a lot of promising pieces that I think they can compete with down the road. And love to see what they do in this year's draft and free agency to improve upon that.
Last year, the Colts. They got a lot of drafts to answer because if Derrick Henry's gone, I think you got your quarterback, but you need a lot of pieces.
Yeah, I agree.
You need a lot of pieces,
and I don't like that you got rid of a great player coach either. But and then you got the Colts, who they're always competitive. It seems like they're always about 500 and can steal some wins and ruin a season. But I'm going to go with the Titans being more likely to make the Super Bowl.
Texans.
That's what I meant. Okay.
The Texans. Trey, I'll just be short and sweet to you. I will disagree. I'm actually going to flip. I'm going to flip on it. Once these defensive coordinators that get paid millions of dollars to have an entire off season, and they have an entire season of film on CJ Stroud, you usually typically see a little bit of a sophomore slump. It's just the way it works out. I'm not saying that his career's done, because then he's gonna hopefully understand how to adjust and beat that. But I am very anxious to see Anthony Richardson with the Colts. I think that is going to be the team that will surprise people next year. And actually, because they almost got in this year with who was that guy? Who's the quarterback?
Minshew. Gardner Minshew.
Minshew. Yeah. So I actually think the Colts. I know, Tyler, you're loving that, but I really do. I think the Colts are the team that make it hard for the Texans to get back there.
Anthony Richardson looked good in the 2.5 games he played, and you're right.
Yep.
Give a shout out to my boy
2.5 games.
Tyler, any input on this one?
Well, yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to make the same mistake twice, where I was off the CJ Stroud bandwagon. I was like, man, super bust. I said it a couple episodes ago. I think Stroud's the real deal. Prove me wrong.
It's a Super Bowl.
I'll say, yeah, most likely.
Wow.
Okay. And real quick on your Colts piece, when we get into some episodes, I got a good idea as to who they're going to pick. It's going to take them next level, but we'll save that for story for another day. But
all right,
I got a lot to talk about the Colts.
Let's go. Whoever wants to pick next, let's go with an NFC team next.
No, we're going. I thought we were going down the AFC.
Oh, you want to do all one conference at a time, or back and forth?
Yeah, let's go.
So let's stay in the AFC.
Trent Browns.
More likely to miss the playoffs. I mean, I think this one's straightforward. The Ravens are going to be back. They're going to still be legit. I actually think they're going to get Derrick Henry too.
The Ravens.
The Ravens, yes.
Ooh.
I think they should try to move up. Actually, maybe get rid of some of the guys that they have, like Dobbins or Gus Edwards, and try to get one of the top receivers if they could in this draft. Give Lamar.
Zay Flowers going to be there?
So, but I'm sorry, I'm talking more about the Ravens right now. But anyway, yeah, Zay Flowers is still there. But Browns, I just, Joe Burrow's back. Steelers, we'll talk about the Steelers, but I'm just saying Joe Burrow's back. You got the Ravens and Bengals in front of you. There's not going to be, I don't think, with the Chargers up and coming in the AFC, because they're going to be there right away. I think it's going to be tough to even get a wild card spot with them in there. So yeah, I'm going more likely to miss the playoffs. Plus, watch out, that news that came out, I think it was last night. There is
about Deshaun?
Still more of a potential suspension with these upcoming lawsuits that are still pending. So that 11 games is not the only punishment the NFL said that they are giving him, that he could, depending on how those go, he could be missing more time. So
I did see that.
Browns should be kicking themselves, because they set the contract up that year to say, hey, yeah, we're not going to take a huge cap hit because we know you're suspended, but now it's a lot of money and it's guaranteed money. So good luck. Browns will be the Browns for a long time. Good year this year, but sorry. I like their coach. I hate that. I love their coach.
I was going to say, I actually think that's going to be the demise of him. I think Stefanski will be out in the next year or two.
Yeah. Maybe they draft a quarterback. Maybe they get one of these late. Maybe they draft Penix. Ooh, that'd be. Then I change my mind. All right. Go ahead. Anybody disagree with me?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't disagree with you. I think they're more likely to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm
just that convincing.
I think that they overperformed
this
year.
That's not it at all.
Yeah. And I don't think it has to do with Deshaun Watson at all. Whether or not he plays, I think doesn't really change the outlook on the Chiefs, to be honest with you. Or, I'm sorry, the Browns, not the Chiefs. Because in reality, he didn't do anything for them this year, and they were still in contention. It was their defensive drive, their performance on defense that kind of carried them, and they had game managers. I think the thing that's going to benefit them the most is having Nick Chubb come back.
Yeah.
Which
what's he do for you, Trey?
Nick Chubb?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is that what he does?
Yeah, Nick.
All right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next one.
That was about to be a very weird sentence there. I'm glad you stopped.
I didn't say anything.
Glad you stopped yourself. All right, next team. All right, so Tyler, why don't you get this one? The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that's mean.
That was mean. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I can answer it. Whew. Oh man, This is a big risk, and it's gonna sound biased as heck. I'm gonna say miss next year.
Miss the playoffs.
And, oh my god!
And I think it echoes what Trent just mentioned a little bit ago. If they do make it, it'd be a wild card, and they could do damage as a wild card, but there's another sneaky team in there that I think in that division that will take it. But I'm gonna say miss.
The Raiders.
I mean, I love AP, so I'm not saying that's not the team, but I think the Chargers.
I'm going to be the first one to hardly disagree with Tyler.
That's fine, and I knew you would.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can sit there and bet against Patrick Mahomes, say he's not going to make the playoffs. If there was any year that Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to make the playoffs, it was this year, and they won the goddamn Super Bowl. So, to me, they're going to return everyone except for maybe Chris Jones. That's the biggest question mark. Which
are they returning everybody? Did you see all their free agents?
They're a young team in terms of their skill positions and everything, and they're going to clearly keep the players that they need to keep. That I don't think they're struggling in terms of cap or anything like that. But
yes, they are. They have to restructure Patrick Mahomes' deal, which they did say he's going to do that.
And you know what? And to be honest, the cap in the NFL doesn't even exist anyway.
Does it exist?
Let's not get into that because that's
any sport.
It's like a pretend thing, but no, I just don't know how you can pick against the defending Super Bowl team that has Patrick Mahomes at the helm. Like,
yeah,
he won it all with a ragtag group of people this year.
Ragtag.
I would call him ragtag.
I would call him ragtag.
What Raggedy Andy over there?
Compared to the team they beat, absolute ragtag.
Oh my God, you're just trying to take no bias though. I do completely disagree with you. I don't see how the Chiefs aren't back in the Super Bowl. Like I have no faith in anybody in the AFC of knocking them off. Even though there's probably, it's a shame because like even the Chiefs admit like the Ravens were the best team in the NFL, right? And they still beat them. So they're back. Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl, and yes, we're going to be fighting a three-peat and fighting a potential Travis Kelce dropping down on a knee and proposing as Taylor Swift on live TV type deal. So
they'll be broken up in a couple of weeks.
Whoa, ouch, Ty! You're gonna.
I'm putting that out there.
You're gonna be after me. That was T-Bake 81, not T-Bake 5561.
Hey, and real quick, we are also going to revisit this episode 55, at 37 and a half minutes next year when all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, I thought the Chiefs were going back to the playoffs. I'll be like, oh, hey, I'll do the Trent and I'll say, hey, run the tape back.
Yeah,
that is fair.
Put your beer where your mouth is. Let's go beer bet it.
Well, hold on. No, I kind of can see, Tyler, I'm not going to go too hard on you with the stupid prediction there because I kind of had the same reaction when I said the Bengals weren't going to make the playoffs this year from you guys. So,
you predicted a Joe Burrow thumb injury. Yeah, whatever.
I sure did. I said I never want to wish injury, but I don't think Joe Burrow is 100%, and I don't think he makes it through the season.
Dude, you're sick. And what happened? You're sick. Happened? You're like an injury plague guy. You're disgusting. You wished it upon Greenlaw, and now you wish it upon Trey. Don't keep your team out of my mouth, out of your mouth. That pisses me off. That's disgusting.
I'm beer betting it. Who's with me here?
Man,
make
I'll
or
beer
miss the. So you're saying miss the playoffs. We're saying make. Oh my God!
Mark
This
it
is
down.
This is like the freest beer ever.
Yeah.
Put on a tab.
Hey, I'm updating the ticker as we speak.
All right, Trey, you're next.
Right.
Dolphins.
Oh, I'm glad I got this team because a fellow listener, Zach Blyler here, we had a little riff earlier in the year when I predicted the Dolphins to not make the playoffs or not be as good as what they were. And to simply put it, I'm going to say they're less likely to make the playoffs next year. And the reason being is actually for one of the reasons why I thought of the beginning of this year is the Jets. God forbid Aaron Rodgers doesn't get injured and they kind of
he spoke it into existence.
He did it again.
There he is.
He did it again.
Whoopsie.
It's done.
No.
Sorry, Aaron.
No, in all seriousness, though, as long as he stays healthy and they can kind of rebuild their offensive line a little bit, I think the Jets could run away with that division. But going back to the Dolphins, I think that they lost a lot of defensive pieces towards the end of the year, and I don't think they're going to be able to retain the defensive pieces that they had. They lost what's his name? Vic Fangio, is that right? Is that they lost?
Yeah.
I like Mike McDaniels, and I think his offense is going to be electric. But I think that that's all that they have. I think that all they have is their speed. I think all they have is their speed, and I think that's not going to be enough to take you far in the AFC, let alone the NFL. So I'm going to go less likely to make the Super Bowl than the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they only beat one team above 500 or 500
exactly.
or better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you know what? And you better believe they're going to have a much tougher schedule next year.
Yeah.
Hey, you better believe it.
You better believe it.
Yeah. Buster.
So look out, Zach. I'm sorry, Zach.
Whoa. Jeez.
Real quick, I'm just gonna say this is I feel like that there are more Dolphins fans that I've met and know in our area, which is just nuts. I mean, I was at a conference. I met like 3 or 4 Dolphins fans, the other week, and I'm like, man, it's a very heavy following. Weirdly enough, especially because they now hold the record for not winning a playoff game, longest streak since the Lions now.
Oh,
yeah, that is
yikes!
Yeah, Dolphins.
Wow,
team that has not won a playoff game.
Trey, I think you hit on all my points. I'm going to be with you on this. I thought this was their year to make their run. I really did. So I'm going to say they're more likely to miss at this point. And keep in mind, listeners, and you guys as well, is these takes could change as free agency, draft, injuries do occur.
Oh, so, for sure.
But this is where we're at right now. So I'm with Miss, and I'm ready to move on. Tyler,
I'll jump on the Miss bandwagon. Now I'm jumping Miss too, and then we can move to the next one because I think to Trey's point, I think you got the Jets. You also have the Bills.
Yeah,
who I think the Bills will still be pretty strong next year. Not sure what's going on there, but Jets and Bills. This was their year, and I was the biggest, two dog like in terms of he won't be successful. He did well. I mean, he stayed healthy, so jiu-jitsu helped.
I was gonna say that.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yes, it did.
All right. Who's picking for who?
I'm next.
Trent's up. All right, Trent. You know what? I'm not going to give you. No, I am going to give you Bills. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say that's what I want. Well,
I know that's why I almost didn't do it.
Round up the wagons, right? Or I don't know. In Sean McDermott's locker room, he's rounding up the
careful.
The Boeing planes or whatever. Holy hell, right?
Wow,
those memes are awesome. Come on. No, is it? You guys are giving me like a look of like that's too risky. Anyway, Look, wait, who's this? Who's trying to join our chat right now? FBI? What is that? No. Okay, relax. Tyler looks scared to death right now. But anyway,
I'm sweating.
it's a joke. That. Come on, that was like that.
At least this isn't live. We're recording. No.
Yeah. So no, I'm gonna go with. I was a hater on the Bills this past season.
Sure were.
I predicted McDermott's downfall, which it was close. It was close. But I'm actually. What Josh Allen has to freaking do it, right? He's got to do it, and his clock's running out. Like I know he's a young.
It's not.
He's
No, it's
young.
not.
No, it's
not.
I just think he is.
No.
I think they're gonna get some significant value in trading away Diggs this offseason. And I think they do. I think they need to get rid of Diggs. Non-existent during their hot streak this year, so I think you just prove that. Hey, yeah, let's move on from him. Let's draft. Let's bring in a free agent.
There's a lot of young, good wide receivers out there too in this draft.
Yeah. So I know the Jets are in the division and Aaron Rodgers is back. I don't buy Robert Saleh until he proves me wrong. But
oh my gosh,
I got Bills more likely to make the Super Bowl.
Trey, did you hear that, Trey?
Yeah, I'm ignoring it.
All right, I'm just kidding. Okay, all right.
I'm not getting into it. I didn't.
You say Bills are in though, Trent?
More likely to make the Super Bowl, yes.
Okay, I agree.
Trey, I'll keep mine short. I'll keep mine short and sweet. I'm saying Bills in. Yes.
I'm also saying Bills
but
in
I also think that Diggs is gone. So.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with everything you guys said. I think Diggs is gone, but I don't think that they're as desperate in the wide receiver room because I like Gabe Davis, and they also have an up and comer Khalil Shakur. He's gonna have a breakout year next year. I think he's gonna be.
Gabe's a free agent, by the way.
Okay,
he's
coming
back.
I think you can afford him for cheaper than you can Diggs, and you can get a lot for Diggs. And then you got a good little slot guy in Khalil Shakur, and then you forget they have KJ Hamler, which I forgot about too, who is kind of a same type of wide receiver as Shakur, but
and DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
fake punt. Watch fake.
Dude, that was so dumb.
Yeah,
that was so dumb. He
didn't win comeback player of the year.
Yeah, he
should. He had the most. He had more. But he had more. It was first place votes, but because Flacco had more second and third place votes, Flacco won it. Which, how in the hell is that? How you make a voting?
But let's be real.
You get more votes.
Flacco should have freaking won it no matter what. I don't care about the votes. Flacco was the comeback player of the year. DeMar Hamlin had 2 tackles. I understand he died and he came back. And that's an amazing story. No, I'm serious. No, that's an amazing story.
Let's not discount that.
That's kind of a big deal.
I'm not taking it away from it, but he what did he do on the field that warranted him?
You're saying
beats me.
I understand. What you're saying is that the story is amazing that you're actually able to even put pads on again.
Right.
But
exactly.
He didn't come back and make a difference on a team this year.
Yes. Thank you, Tyler.
Could he next year? Probably. No,
yes.
I understand what you're saying.
Love DeMar Hamlin. Love the story, and I'm glad he's alive.
A lot of heart.
Yeah.
A lot of heart.
So we'll move on from that. Bills are going to make the Super Bowl.
That's a terrible compliment, Trent. Let's not make that as a compliment.
What's that? Oh my gosh, I didn't even try that. I'm sorry.
Well, wow.
All right.
Man.
Can I just point out real quick to kind of change the complete direction because you guys are very insensitive.
That was Trent.
I'm sorry.
Can I be honest? One of my favorite, not favorite players, but one guy that I have now listened to on McAfee a couple times that plays for the Bills. Man,
Poyer.
Who is Jordan Poyer?
Yeah.
Jordan Poyer is he's following Rodgers' footsteps too. He's like, dude, ayahuasca retreat, dark retreat. And did you see? He's actually doing a documentary on it.
Yeah, with two Bills players this year. Yeah.
So he does a whole lot of like the body self-care stuff, man, and like he's into it. And
it's
I'll tell you what,
plant-based medicine, Tyler. It's plant-based medicine. That's what he
right?
calls
But
it.
I'm saying like it's neat to hear his outlook and stuff because McAfee was asking him like some of the things he does. Like, I mean, he's a yoga guy. Like he's all, and he's like, dude, man, and it does make you kind of appreciate the fact like what these guys go through in an 18 game season, like what their bodies go through.
Yeah.
And how do you take care of your body like that when you're playing against, 330-pound guys, that can run 4 or 5 40s. It's
So,
like, I mean, that's a unique specimen.
Tyler, not to get off topic here, but to kind of
we're pretty far off topic.
I know
we all agree. We're
Tyler's
talking
about how he takes care of his body and how taxing it is for an 18-game season. The one thing that I could not stop thinking about this year, especially in the Super Bowl, is Christian McCaffrey. Think about how much of a goddamn beating he takes he is like a heart and soul of a football player. And I hate to say it because he's on the 49ers, but dude, I'm watching some of these runs where he gets tackled out of bounds, slammed to the ground, next plays in the huddle, and they run it, and they run it with him again. And it's like, dude, give him a break. Like he's getting walloped out there, and he's just taking it. And
do you guys question this too? Because, and I do, and I hate to question it, like his whole thing was he couldn't stay healthy in Carolina. And like to see the beating that he takes in San Fran, part of it's like, is he able to overcome that stuff because they're winning games?
Yes.
And they're successful. And that's kind of what I go to is like in Carolina, like they weren't winning games like they were in San Fran.
I think there was only like 1 year where he had injury problems, right?
Not two.
I think two.
Okay, well, at Carolina, he was
one was significant.
I think he was also taking 95% of the team snaps.
Yeah,
like in terms
what's he doing in San Fran? Elijah Mitchell's touching the ball like 3 times.
But you have Kittle, you have Ayuk, you
I know.
Debo,
right.
You have Juwan Jennings, I could go on and on.
But I mean, like, okay, you just put Juwan Jennings is a phenomenal player, but like, come on, he's our number 3 receiver. Like, he's not. All right, last one real quick. AFC
Steelers. Tyler, you go.
Miss
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ryan Tannehill's their quarterback next year.
Yes, good call.
Not Justin Fields, even though that is the rumor.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill next year.
I was gonna say Russell Wilson is more likely.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
Both of them are close to like they're the heavy. I think right now odds, which I wish we could bet on these types of things. We can't.
Man, I know. Come on, PA.
But
Let's
Justin
go.
Fields to Pittsburgh minus 125. Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh plus 100 now.
Interesting.
Man, that's such a tough question. Like,
it's not.
You said no. You said less likely to make the playoffs, Ty.
More likely to miss the playoffs.
Or sorry. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm not confident in my decision to agree with you. I think if they do get one of those 3 guys, Fields, Russell Wilson, or Tannehill, the Steelers have a good young core of talent, and they have a phenomenal defense, as we know. So they have 2 receivers in Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. They have a great running back in Ty Warren, not what's his name? Not
Najee Harris.
No, not
Najee Harris.
Ty Warren is their future, as he should be, the way he looked this year. And I think if they get a quarterback that's able to utilize play action like Arthur Smith likes to do a lot, I think the Steelers could be a sneaky good team. And we all know Tomlin's history of never having a losing season, so it's just tough to bet against the Steelers at this point. But I'm agreeing with you. I think they're more likely to miss the playoffs than to make the Super Bowl.
Goes back to Trent's point about that division too. Is Burrow's healthy again?
Exactly.
And you still have the Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's jump over to NFC, guys.
Well, we do have one more team we didn't talk about, Ravens, and I think we'd be quick.
Okay.
Ravens more likely to make the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Correct.
I'm on board with that.
Okay. Let's go NFC.
54.
Yep. So. Let's go. Let's start. Let's go Buccaneers. Trey.
Ooh. I'm gonna go more likely to miss the playoffs. I do think that they're going to re-sign Baker.
To a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I think which
good for him, man.
Is to their benefit. I think it's to their benefit, but I also think it's to their not benefit too, especially if they give them that big of a deal. I think they're going to. I think. Yeah, they're. Yeah, I don't know the word, but I think they're going to lose Mike Evans to free agency. I think he's going to sign with a contending team like the Bills.
Chiefs. I was going to say Chiefs.
I think he could sign with the Bills. But I just that division's a little bit too up in the air. Like what they all finished like 7-9 this year, or 7-10, or 8-9,
just like every year.
Yeah, and I think I think that's going to be one of the teams to shuffle out of the playoffs is the Buccaneers. I know there's like 2 or 3 teams every year. I think the Saints or the Falcons are primed to kind of take that spot over, and that's why I'm going with them to miss the playoffs more likely.
So yeah, I'd say Raheem Morris gets the boys going in Atlanta more so than even the Saints, even though I don't know. I mean, I think the Falcons have a little bit more talent.
Exactly.
Unless the Saints and I mean, unless the Saints do something drastic at quarterback, I still don't think their coach is the guy. But and real quick side note to this is that I will say that, I don't know if you guys watch this, but Barstool with Caleb Presley, Sunday Conversation with Jameis Winston. I am not a Jameis Winston fan by any means, but I'll tell you, if you want to watch something funny, go watch the Barstool interview with Caleb Presley, Sunday Conversation with Jameis Winston. Hilarious.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Glenny Balls is dressed as a crab.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm also on, but I think what really, I don't know. I mean, I think Falcons are the team that should. That's why I think there's a little pressure on Raheem Morris. If they come out and suck or do any worse than what good old mustache Artie Smith did with him, I think he's on the hot seat right away. But I do. Get a quarterback. Win that division. It's the most winnable division there is. But yeah, I'm going to say more likely to miss the playoffs than to make the Super Bowl.
Here, this is kind of a side note. Do you think that the Falcons, and this is again side note, I'm sorry, but do you think the Falcons go and get somebody like Fields?
That's a good rumor, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to draft.
You're going to get drafted. You think so? Okay.
Draft or Kirk.
I'll tell you what they should do. I'll tell you what they should do is if they don't draft a quarter, or even if no matter what, they should keep Taylor Heineke around.
You love him.
All
right,
he's a gamer. He's a gamer.
Let's go. Let's go. Eagles. Tyler,
that's you, Trent.
Go.
Is that for me?
Yeah, me. You guys can bring me that other team right there beside the Eagles.
Above the Eagles.
Actually, to the side. I'll answer that one because you guys are both extremely biased on that one. So,
all right, Eagles. Whew. I am gonna say miss. More likely to miss the playoffs.
Wow.
I think I know.
No, don't. It's not.
Not making any friends around here.
It's not funny because I agree with Tyler.
I don't think they made the right moves in the offseason for coordinators. I think Kellen Moore sucks. I'm just going to be honest. I think he sucks. And Eagles fans that might be happy for Kellen Moore to be your offensive coordinator, you are going to be sadly disappointed. I think that's really kind of telling because you're not going to do anything to improve Jalen Hurts' play. I think you're going to see Jalen Hurts like he did this year where he tried to do too much. I say Eagles miss. I think Dallas gets back, but I don't think many teams from that division make it. So,
yeah. I'm with you in the sense of I don't know if Kellen Moore fits the personnel.
He's bad, man. He's bad.
Well, yeah, he's I'm not going to hate on him that much, but I think they're gonna lose some key pieces too. I think they're sounds like they're losing Riddick. So I'll
not funny how that comes out and then he comes out. He's like, "Oh, I'm not being traded." But
yeah, it might be his way of trying to save face because I think he's a Philly guy. Yeah. So even if he's asking to get out, he might actually be doing it. But the team might say, "It's okay, you can come out and say that. Like we'll owe you that. That's fine." But I'm just gonna go ahead and say, yeah, I think more likely to miss. I agree with the tie because I also think not only the Cowboys going to stay atop that division, I also think the Giants are going to be much more challenging, in my opinion. I think they're going to get a number one receiver in the draft, and Daniel Jones is going to come back. They are going to lose Saquon to the Chargers, but I still think I believe in Brian Daboll most of these coaches in the NFL. So,
I also agree with you, Tyler. I think they're more likely to miss the playoffs than make the Super Bowl. And for the same reasons, I don't think Kellen Moore was the right offensive coordinating hire. And I'm going to take it one step further. I think that they needed to get rid of Nick Sirianni. I think that he lost the locker room. I think they're trying to salvage his career in Philly because of him making the Super Bowl the year before. And I said it once and I'll say it again. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Hey, say it again.
He is not. Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's a great player. He's a great football player.
Good leader. Yep.
He's got great work ethic. He's a great leader. He's level-headed, but his skill set is just not there. Like, it's not. And for that reason, they are not making the playoffs next year. No,
it kind of goes that. It kind of goes to Alabama quarterbacks too.
All right.
Just saying. All right.
Let's go next.
All right, Trent. Niners, quick.
Super Bowl.
Trey.
If I had to pick, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Let's go. Trey, Lions.
Ooh.
This is an easy one for me. I'm going to go. They're more likely to make the Super Bowl, and in fact, this is one of I made 5 Super Bowl future bets for next year already. All at $20 a piece. So I spent $100 for my Super Bowl futures. I only usually pick 4 teams, but I had to include another one just for the heck of it and the odds. But the Lions are one of those teams this year, and main reason is that Ben Johnson's back. I think that having that offensive coordinator and that offensive scheme kind of stay alive with Dan Campbell, with a second year of Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown coming into his prime. You got the tight end coming into his second year, who is arguably one of the best tight ends in the league this year. And then who's the young wideout? Jameson Williams? Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's coming back. And I know he's coming off an injury from a year ago or 2 years ago, but I just think the Lions team is just so potent on all around. And in the draft, I think they're gonna tighten up their defense. I think they're gonna get a couple weapons that way. And Tyler, I know me and you talked about it. A lot of people have the Lions getting Chop Robinson from Penn State in the draft. And holy crap,
yeah,
if you have
him and
Aiden Hutchinson. Look, I mean, quarterbacks aren't gonna have a second to throw the ball. So
and you have that linebacking core too.
Yeah, you got not Anzalone. Is it Anzalone?
Yeah, Anzalone. Yep.
And Jack Campbell
from Iowa. Yep.
Right. So it's just their secondary. If they can tighten up their secondary and get another weapon or two on the defensive end, look out for the Lions. Honestly, and I hate to say that, but
I'm going to agree. And you all owe me an apology because I told you they are no longer just the old Lions. So
I admitted. I admit the
Tyler,
same thing.
run the tape.
There he is. Hey, and can we also mention this too? I think the Lions are going to be okay for a while, even after Jared Goff is gone, because I am a believer in Hendon Hooker.
No, I knew you were going to get that. All right, Tyler, Rams, go.
Rams. No, I'm saying not make the playoffs, not make the Super Bowl.
This is probably one of Trey's future bets, I bet.
Probably.
It's not.
I mean, they're gonna have to draft a quarterback or do something at quarterback because Stafford's not gonna live forever in the Rams uniforms. Like he's gonna retire, probably live forever. I mean,
yeah, that was dark.
Sorry, that was terrible. A little dark.
Tyler, you said that right, not Trey with Mr.
Yeah.
I know.
Mr. Injury guy.
I don't know. I will, and I also think that I can't think of his name. Wide receiver.
Puka Nacua.
Not Puka. No, the other one.
Cooper Kupp.
No, Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp. I think his NFL career is over in a year or two. As young as he is, I think injury wise, I think he's done.
Yeah, that hamstring.
I will say this though, is that their running back core though, that Kieran Williams, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised at what the Rams were able to do this year. I did not expect them to make the playoffs. But I actually expected Seattle more so than them out of that division.
Yeah.
But to make a wild card.
I'm strictly gonna I'm strictly going miss the playoffs, more likely to miss the playoffs, because I don't think they have enough valuable draft stock because they traded everything away over these past couple years. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think they were overachievers this year. I mean, the Puka Nacua was an absolute, gem, right? A hidden gem that, I actually think his career is going to be okay. But I think where it's going to matter is can you be dominant in the trenches, and I think that's what's going to catch up with them in the long term. So that's why I'm going to say they have a chance to miss the playoffs.
I'm going to disagree with both you guys. I think they are more likely to make the Super Bowl. And no, they were not one of my picks, Trent.
Okay.
Yeah, I almost called you a bad word.
What were you going to say about rubbing?
You can still say bad. You can still say bad words. You just need to be just
no. But and the reason being is I think that they are one step ahead of their weaknesses. So last year is Aaron Donald's winding down, blah blah blah. They drafted two defensive studs or a couple defensive studs that on their rookie contracts are starting to actually produce. They found a stud in Kieran Williams, the running back, who is a tank of a runner. He's an NFL prototypical smash mouth football player. And then I also think that their offensive scheme and Sean McVay, I think he gets the most out of his players, no matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Matt Stafford back there throwing the ball. I mean, that's a bigger advantage, but I think the Lions might, or not Lions, I think the Rams might sneak and draft Bo Nix here in this draft to kind of sit behind Matt Stafford. And if they do that, they're not going to skip a beat.
Nope.
I truly think that I think that Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is a personnel guru in terms of getting the most out of his players. So I'm going to go with they're more likely to win the Super Bowl than to miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Tracy the ticker.
Yeah, I did. I'm ignoring it.
All right. Let's go through this next one pretty quick. Cowboys, I'm going to go Super Bowl. More likely to make the Super Bowl than to miss the playoffs.
I agree.
More likely to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. Yes.
Okay. Let's finish with this one.
All right.
Trey, let's not make this too long-winded here. Packers, go.
Are you guys? Am I answering the question?
Yeah,
you are.
No, I don't want to. I want one of you guys to start.
Tyler, go.
Oh man. I think they make the playoffs. I don't think the Super Bowl, just because of the line.
That's not the question.
I'll step up.
I'll say no. I'll say no.
I'm saying more likely to miss the playoffs than make the Super Bowl.
Sophomore slump.
Vikings are going to be back. Lions are going to be back. Bears.
Vikings are not going to be back unless you have a quarterback because you're not re-signing Kirk Cousins there.
Oh, they're drafting one, and it's going to be scary. So I think this they're good. They were hot, but I think there's going to be a little bit of recency bias going into next year. Had to get that in, but Trey, go ahead, make your case here before we close this up and go on
a
little bit
care.
of hoops.
Obviously, I'm picking that they are more likely to win the Super Bowl than to miss the playoffs because we beat the Lions, and I think we did score the most points on the Chiefs this year than any other team in the NFL, and we beat them. Oh yeah, we did beat the Chiefs this year, so we beat the Super Bowl champs, and we should have beaten the team that was in to represent the NFC. So yeah, I mean, now we only have more experience. We have. Oh, okay, all right, that's fine.
Hey, Trey, the Raiders beat the Chiefs too. And the Packers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Trent, we're more Super Bowl champions than the 49ers are. But anyway, no, I think
you weren't in it.
I think they have the most contract-friendly team. We have the most draft capital. We have a head coach that is unbelievable, and we have a quarterback that is just starting to bud. That is.
Bud, wow.
He's capable of completing every throw on the football field, no matter who's on his team. Doesn't matter what system he's playing.
He's like a little baby sapling. Sapling
blossoms.
He's not a game manager. He's not a game manager. He can actually go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes if he needed to. So that's why I think they're
kind of want a game manager if you actually know what a quarterback does. But that's fine.
All right. Well, hey. I'll tell you what, that was a lot of NFL recap, but also look ahead. I like it. We got a little over 200 days until the next football game, boys.
Oh God, only 60-some days till the draft.
There we go.
Hey, we got the UFL. We got the UFL coming up in April or March, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we gotta set the date to go meet Fast Breaks down in DC, man.
That's right.
Oh, let's join the beer snake. Let's do it.
That's right.
Oh, and also speaking of Fast Breaks, hey man, don't worry about the coin toss. I'm used to it. I'm like 1-7 now or something like that.
Yeah, 1-6, 1-7.
So Trey, what we're gonna do next year is whatever you decide to pick, everybody else is gonna fade it.
But I still pick mine.
Yeah, you pick. Like I want to see your ticket, like on your phone, and then I'm gonna do an auto fade. And you know what?
What if he fades? What if he fades himself like he did in baseball here?
Gosh,
you'll never know.
That's right. Before he became the walk guru, he was a self fader. That's true.
Yeah,
those are low moments.
But anyway, a winning self fader.
Yes. Hey, can we talk? I know we're getting to the end of it here, but we got to talk about the madness. Because it's February. Heck, let's say just all season has been absolutely mad. So college basketball, boys, can we?
Let's do it, man.
It's been
wild so far.
With one of the most crazy statistics out there for college basketball, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this? AP top 10 teams, with Carolina losing this week at Syracuse. I had to get that in.
Thanks.
They are now AP top 10 teams. It contributes to my statistics.
Why are you throwing fingers out there, Trey?
You're mad that he's talking crap on your team, and you guys both picked the Packers and missed the playoffs. So
I wasn't talking crap. That's just our opinion.
All right. So anyway, that was a finger towards me. I thought you were like helping me out, like giving him the finger. I was like, oh, thanks.
It was to both of you.
Okay, listen to this statistic, guys. AP top 10 teams are 32 and 34 versus unranked teams on the road. This is the worst, or it would be the worst record in the AP poll era. I believe the last time it was this bad, they were at least 43 and 28, and that was in 1978, 1979. So this kind of goes back to, I think I'm going to contribute to guys staying in college longer at some of these mediocre programs because they can get a little money, a little NIL. I also think these programs are getting some talent from feeder schools, which are the mid majors. But yeah, they are sub 500 right now on the road, the top 10. So you think you have an idea how we're going to fill out our bracket? Think again, right? You might want to bring some white out or a match because it's going to go up in flames. So
I
yeah,
would real quick. I'd like to quote Will Smith on this for college basketball. Nothing left to nil.
Oh, I was thinking we're getting jiggy with it, but that's fine.
That's what I thought.
It was. No, get it? Yeah. Nothing left to nil. NIL.
Oh, I was quite lost until you spelled it out for me there. Actually, I was like, I don't know what nil means, but hey, so
zero.
I did already mention UNC. I apologize, Ty. They'll be fine. Final Four bound for sure. Kansas got killed by 29
hold
points.
on a second. Okay, don't do what Trey did. Don't do what Trey did. Don't do that.
Why? Because it worked.
Wow,
no,
Trey,
because he kept trying to do the reverse jinx. What do you mean it worked? We made the Super Bowl.
All right. Anyway,
made it.
Real recap: Kansas killed at Texas Tech. UNC falled to Syracuse. Those are two AP top 10 teams. Kansas most likely won't even drop in the poll. Fell. Sorry. Okay. You're the English guy. I'm the science guy. Whatever. We're talking sports.
No, but like
Virginia fell. Virginia fell at Pitt this week. Ugh, disgusting. So I guess can I just share some of the greatest news? Or Detroit is no longer 0-4, right? They not only won, but they covered. And I think if you guys can find it out there, it's the most hilarious video. They had one student who rushed the court.
That's right.
I watched it.
So, and that is the same exact gym where my wife was saying, "Are you watching a high school game on TV?" And I'm like, "No, I this is actually Division I basketball." But yeah, that they did get their first win. So I don't know if you guys have any takeaways from this week on what has happened. I do have kind of a question for you guys here coming up if you want me to jump right into that for you.
I have a couple of takeaways. Number one, I think that South Carolina getting beat down by 40 points last night showed that South Carolina is not the top team in the SEC, regardless of their record. I think that kind of exposed them a little bit. And granted, Auburn's a tough place to play.
Yeah,
and that and Bruce Pearl, good coach. Iowa State surprised me a little bit this year. They are a team that I've been watching a little bit in terms of being able to cover at least for teams. Still not sold on Tennessee. I think Tennessee are fakers. And my disappointment of the week. Was Indiana State. Indiana State was my biggest disappointment because I'm following Bobby Avila, and to have them finally crack top 25 and then just lose when you were favored by 18.5.
Yeah. And you know what? It's just first time ranked since Larry Bird was there in the top 25.
1979.
So yeah, that's brutal.
But Trey, any takeaways from this week?
The only takeaway, and Tyler, it's not a dig to you, but North Carolina does not like Super Tuesdays. I think two, maybe 3 Tuesdays in a row they've lost one of their games, and I don't know. That's just the only trend that I've noticed. Granted, I think that UNC is going to be a good tournament team. Steve, Fast Breaks, touched on it last week. Trent, you've touched on it just this week, telling us the record of the top 10 teams. But it's a parity league. Like, you could be a 3 seed in the top 25 and you play an unranked out of conference game, and I don't have confidence in you. Like, you got to truly look at each game, look at offensive schemes, defensive schemes to make your bets. And it's reflecting this year in my betting, at least, because I'm starting to struggle down the road here in conference play and everything like that. But I love it, but it's also frustrating, right? Like it's
tough.
Yeah, you love to see these no-name schools beat these top-ranked teams, but then again, I'm betting on Kentucky minus 2.5 against an unranked team. I'm like, oh, this is taking candy from a baby.
Cake.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then boom, they lose by 12. And it's like, wow, how do they know? Like, it's crazy. And then it takes
whoop.
Yeah. Whoop whoop.
Yeah. He just started sounding like Chris Berman.
I know.
Boom. Boom.
No, it's just there's no rhyme or reason to what happens, and I love it, but I also hate it for betting. So I don't know.
It's gonna be great in the tournament, though.
But you know what, though, is the other thing we talked about is I think Virginia beat a team by like 40 points also recently. Who was it? It was oh man, I can't think.
Miami.
It was Miami. Miami didn't even put up 20 points at halftime. And here I am watching the game. I'm like, how does this happen? I got to turn this on. And Miami's defense is just so fundamental, and they're just shutting teams down. It's true basketball. Like, it's basketball the way it's meant to be played. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I could watch that 10 times out of 10 over the NBA any day of the week. The only time that I find the NBA entertaining is when it's the playoffs, where you actually start to see these players try because they want to win a championship. But when it comes otherwise, I got to watch college basketball to see true basketball being played. And as a result, you actually you end up seeing these upsets and everything like that. So I love it, but it's a love-hate for me in terms of betting.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Agreed. So I just want to, I have a duty to fulfill on a podcast. You guys know my deal with the
gotta get that money, Trent.
So, Lunardi, gives out his weekly bracketology, because he's I guess an expert with a lisp. But anyway, he when you compare the Big 12 and the ACC, right? You look at it and you guys would all agree. Thank you, Tyler, for that updated. Thank you. Appreciate that. They have the really good teams, really good teams at the top, really bad teams at the bottom, right? I don't know if you guys saw our conference, the ACC, next year. They are actually the bottom teams. I think it's 2 or 3. The bottom 3 teams won't get to play in the ACC tournament. They're only taking 15. So I don't know if you saw that because they're expanding.
No, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, that was news this week at our meeting.
So, expanding.
Yes, they are. They're adding Stanford and Cal and SMU. So Atlantic Coast Conference, Western.
The Atlantic Coast.
Right? But anyway,
oh my
God.
Hey, they had to add teams. But anyway, what my point here at this is the mediocre teams, the teams in the middle of the pack that are constantly being debated, right? So
SMU, who doesn't even have a coast.
No, but ACC middle of the pack teams: Virginia Tech, Clemson, Virginia, technically, although Virginia I think is at the top, but Miami, Wake Forest, and Pitt. When you sit there and look at their non-conference strength of schedule, okay, they were 38, 46, 119, 147, 164, and 334, right? They actually had a combined non-conference record of 11-8. Okay, and that's top 75. Okay, but then when you sit there and get to like you get to the middle of the pack in the Big 12, Texas, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Iowa State, BYU, TCU, their non-conference strength of schedules. Now keep in mind, the highest for the ACC was 334, right? Most of them were either under even 50 or to the early hundreds. 203, 249, 261, 263, 278, combined record 4-12 against the top 75. 4-12. Okay, so this whole entire deal of, losing a conference game in the Big 12 is actually it's a better loss is a total crock of crap because all those teams fluff their records, by playing weak schedules non-conference. So now you make it look super competitive. Whereas the ACC went out and challenged themselves. Look at Clemson. Clemson has a hell of a non-conference schedule with hell of a non-conference wins over multiple teams.
I was going to say, and they're doing well in the conference too.
Pretty well. They're not. They're actually barely
got some upsets though.
Yeah, but
aren't they 18-6
overall? But in the conference, they're.
He's saying in the ACC.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Yes. So here, I just last thing. Big 12 middle teams that I named earlier against Q3 and quad 4 teams. They're 72-0. Okay, that's good. Quad 3, quad 4. That's great. Quad 1, quad 2, they're 7-12. Whereas the ACC middle teams against quad 3, quad 4, they're 41-1. So they played less of those awful teams that they should beat the crap out of. But against quad 1, quad 2, they're 12-12. They're at least 500. And they at least played 5 more of those quad 1, quad 2 games. So I'm sorry. I'm going to step off now because I can't stand that I'm sitting there. Hold on. That I'm sitting there seeing them give more bids to a Mountain West conference, which I no offense against them, but more bids across the board. You're going to put 4 teams in the ACC. I'm not going to rattle off my stats that I read 2 weeks ago, but the cream rises to the crop top, boys, and the ACC will be there in the end.
Trent, I just want to know.
I forgot about the crop tops.
Yeah. Trent, I want to know when your application comes in for lead bracketologist for ESPN.
It should be in.
Yeah,
Trent Lunardi.
Trent Lunardi.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare call me that! Oh, don't you dare!
No. If you need letters of recommendation, man, I'm there for you because those statistics are more telling than what Joe leads us to believe. Because he's sitting there saying, "Oh, there would be three, maybe 4 teams from the ACC." But you know what?
Yeah,
you just convinced me that.
Thank you, Trent.
You see his tag?
What is it?
It says Trent Lunardi.
Oh, crap off of that.
Yikes! Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Trent. Thanks for giving me some credit there.
Seriously,
I'll give you that.
I didn't know that, and the fact that reading the quad 4, quad 3 wins losses versus the quad 1, quad 2, that's what they nowadays. That's what they base all of their tournament teams on. Look at. So if Joe Lunardi knows that, as he should, if he's Mr. Bracketologist, then he's a little scumbag, actually.
Yeah.
Nope. Damn right.
Scumbag, I like that.
Scumbag,
hey, and I will say this: when Carolina lost to Syracuse here, and I kept saying, like, how many times the announcers kept saying, "This is going to be a quad 2 loss. This is going to be a quad 2 loss. This is going to be a quad." They said it like 9 times in the last 10 minutes of the game, and I'm like, okay, we get it, dude. Like, I understand Carolina's not going to win this game because Syracuse is shooting 63%, but holy cow. Yeah. The quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, all that shit. You're right, Trey. That is what they are taking into account. Stuff.
It accounts for this whole net rating, right? Like they keep talking about this net rating, which when you actually look at it, guys, the one way that you're going to improve your net rating and get really up there is you simply win on the road, no matter the quad victory that you're looking
especially this year.
That is, but I'm serious. In all years, it is winning on the road is what matters. Winning at home does not move your net rating at all. It's very frustrating that they're using that because they even said they eliminated the use of, remember how they used to look at, okay, how did they play in their last 10 games? And are they worthy of making, if they're a bubble team, that would used to be a criteria. Right. They don't look at it anymore. They don't look at the last 10 games. Yeah. So you're seeing some of these teams that, oh my gosh, they're playing really strong. You look at a UCLA, if you take that away from them a couple of years ago, they never make their initial run.
It's true.
Because they were down and out. So
yeah, that's a good point.
One thing I want to ask you guys is it's a very specific question. It's about one particular team, but it's a team that I've kind of kept an eye on because last year and the years before I've followed them, I've bet on them, I'm successful. And last year they kind of made headlines is Florida Atlantic. They are 20-5, 10-2 in their conference, 4-3 away. They're not like beating teams handedly. Like they're escaping some wins too. If it wasn't for last year, this team would not be ranked.
Agreed.
Right?
100%.
Like I
Agreed.
feel like
100%.
I feel like they're playing the like. I feel like their Cinderella story has almost continued into this whole next season because they lost some very bad games.
If they wouldn't have made the Final Four,
exactly,
I don't think we'd see this. But I think that the fact that correct me if I'm wrong, they still have a lot of guys back from last year.
Oh, they have almost everyone.
Whole team.
Yeah.
So and the coach stayed. So I think that's kind of what they're taking into account because I agree with you, Trey. Trey, I'm not disagreeing. If they didn't make the Final Four, I think even if they were Elite Eight last year, I don't think they're top 25 still at 19-5. No, because 19-5, you're 24. In who are you playing? You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
this year they did move to the American Athletic Conference, which we've talked about as I would consider it a power conference in college basketball this year.
Yeah.
No,
borderline.
Okay. No, Memphis fell off the face of the earth. By the way, they lost their tournament hopes away tonight, losing to North Texas. But
I think shout out to Fast Breaks because he even talked about that.
Yeah,
he said Memphis had to win tonight. His tweet tonight said they had to win. So shout out to Steve.
Screw me because I picked them as my champ, but no, but it's just one little thing I noticed about this year. It's like, yeah, they're good. They're a good team this year. I'm not taking that away from them, but they're not a ranked whole season good team. Like you had Gonzaga drop out of the top 25 at one point, and
who might not even make the tournament.
No, they should.
Their last four in now, thanks to Joe.
What? Hold on. Are you serious?
Last four in now, the very last team in.
Come on, man! Like,
you want to know?
And that's just because of who they are and who their coach is. Because it's the same thing with the Florida Atlantic stuff.
There you go, guys. Ready? Last four in, updated tonight, right? Or actually, it is updated tonight. He's going to update it tomorrow. Last four in: Ole Miss, Nevada, Utah, and Gonzaga. First four out: Wake Forest, Providence, Seton Hall, Cincinnati. Next four out: Colorado, St. John's, Villanova, and Memphis. Yeah. So Big 12 gets 9 bids. SEC gets 9 bids. Big 10, 6 bids. Mountain West.
Big 10 terrible this year.
Mountain West, 6 bids.
Gosh.
Big East, 4. ACC, 4. Pac-12, 3. American, 2. West Coast Conference, 2.
How do they have the Big 10 getting 6 bids?
Dude, the Big 10 is so bad.
Yep. I'm just saying that bad. Hold on. We're not even saying they guys. We're saying that damn Joey Brackett's Lunardi. He's wrong.
Purdue
put me out there. Let's get him on as a guest, and me and him will go at it.
He'll never come on.
Great. Trent, hey,
he's scared, Trey. You're right. He's scared.
Hey, we got to tweet him.
All right.
Sorry, post him. Post him on X.
Post him.
We'll Instagram.
Hey,
we'll Instagram post him.
I would list if we're are we wrapping this up? This episode?
Yeah,
we can wrap it up. Yeah.
I just want to give a couple things about I'm looking at this weekend. One, I want to at least give a shout out to one mid-major team that I think has the potential to do something similar to what a Furman did last year. Was it last year that Furman knocked a team out? They won a couple games, didn't they? They beat Virginia last year, first round.
No, it was Fairleigh Dickinson.
No,
that was Purdue. Sorry.
Furman beat Virginia last year. Buzzer beater shot, 3-pointer.
Furman, what's their name?
It's like Radar.
It's Paladins.
No, what's Trey? Paladins.
Palindromes.
Like they're like knights.
Yeah. Okay.
Palindromes.
Anyway, Radar. Anyway.
Palindrome. I got it.
Yeah. The team that I'm gonna give a shout out for is I think they're scary is Samford. I think Samford is very good. They just beat down Western Carolina, who's probably the biggest competition in the conference.
What's that guy's name? Achor?
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah. It's like Boo Booey.
No, it's like Bol.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Boo Booey, Bol, like it's the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say Marquette covers or upsets UConn this week. I think Oklahoma's going to beat Kansas this week. And I also am predicting a absolute beatdown similar to what Auburn just did to South Carolina, but Auburn's going to do it to Kentucky because I really thought that South Carolina game was going to be a trap game for Auburn, looking ahead to Kentucky. But I think Auburn's going to pound Kentucky at their home. So those are my key things that I'm gonna say to look out for this weekend. And no lines are out. So when I say I like them to win or cover, that's why right now I'm waiting to see the lines. So we might, you know what, guys, Tyler, Trey, it is time that we start releasing our college basketball boards.
Uh-oh.
So let's get it ready for this weekend.
Yep. All right, let's do it this weekend.
You know what else
There's
you guys
a ton of
gotta start
games
thinking about? Is our March Madness episode where we go through all of the seeds.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
You need a 16th seed.
I was gonna say Tyler's gonna give like Texas a 15 seed this year.
Virginia.
You do realize though that there is a chance that like a Michigan State could get a 7 seed, and that means
9 right now, Trent.
That means
9.
a 2 seed could have to play. Oh my God, a 1 seed then. If they're getting like a 9, that means a 1 seed could have to play Michigan State next round. I would not want to play it. I mean, they do.
I will say this:
Duke will have to play Michigan State. They put Duke and Michigan State in the same bracket every year.
Yeah, they do. They love the Izzo or they used to love the Izzo Krzyzewski matchup, but now they just keep it going.
Hey, Coach K, happy birthday! It's belated.
I'll tell you what. Team that I like the 2 teams I like right now is I really like Tarleton State. All right, and I don't think they're going to actually make the tournament, but I do like Tarleton State. But I did see, and this was your boy Joe Lunardi when he released his top 64 or whatever. High Point was in the tournament.
Bad loss.
I know. But they're tough, man.
Yeah, if they win their conference tournament, they're going to be.
They're first in the Big South right now. So
yeah. Two teams I like. Norfolk State.
I don't think you're saying that right.
Norfolk State.
Norfolk.
No, I'm not. I know I'm not kidding. Like people in Virginia will say you're wrong.
What? How do they say it?
It's like Norfolk.
Norfolk.
Yeah, I swear to God. Like I swear to God, that's not
Trey.
That's how you say it. Like I'm telling you.
Trey, it's like I have a spoon, but no fork.
Yeah, I was just saying. It sounds like I have a speech impediment. Norfolk State.
Well, hey, what are you not going to do tonight?
Oh, whoa!
Wow, hello.
Sorry.
Hey, you don't know my life. You don't know my life.
He has no fork. I'm saying he's like not going to eat with a fork. He's going to eat with a spoon.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I like them. I like them, and I like McNeese State.
Dude, McNeese State right now, scary.
Yeah,
scary team.
Norfolk's got to win their
terrible.
They got to win their conference championship if they're going to make the tournament. But
I don't even know who you're talking about. What team?
Norfolk State.
Oh, okay.
I love how he can't say without messing up the word state too. He's like state.
Norfolk
State.
No, seriously, no. In all seriousness, if that team does make it, they're going to be a threat in the tournament. They match up well against a lot of great teams, like very talented teams. They're just a little like they can lose some bad games here and there, but I like them a lot.
All right. Well, boys, that was a good one.
Get it? Yeah. Hey, we will definitely have more college basketball stuff coming up here in the next couple episodes. Tell you what, man, top 25 is tough.
Yeah.
Tough to predict, tough to, I mean, you obviously pick your teams, and it's like, I'm looking at my teams that I usually cap, and I'm like, I'm not capping Oral Roberts this year. I'm not capping,
Purdue,
UNC Asheville as much as I, Yeah, seriously, though, like, It's tough. It's tough right now. I will say this: that I did predict. Trent, I think you and I talked, earlier today. Is I said Arlington versus Tarleton State. I said I hate, even though Arlington was top 5 in terms of capping the spread. They were -5.5 favorites against Tarleton State. At 5.5, I said take Tarleton State, and they ended up Tarleton State won outright. So they were dogs. So that is definitely a team I'm looking at. I mean, I don't know. Top 25 right now, if you look top to bottom, when you get into, you have Dayton, Creighton, St. Mary's, BYU, Indiana State, Florida Atlantic. I know, some might drop, Indiana State's going to drop out, but like, what in the world, man? Like, you got your top 25 is rare right now.
Yeah.
So get ready. Like, this March is going to literally be madness.
Yeah. And guess what, fellas? We'll be there watching it together. Might even have a live stream. Might even have a live
stream. Yep. We're gonna live stream it, and sneak peek. We are going to start video episodes starting for our March Madness episode. So that'll be our first actual video episode. We're actually sampling it tonight here, but we're gonna release audio and stuff. But we're working out some kinks. So video episode coming soon. Look for it in a couple weeks. We'll definitely put out a teaser commercial and all that stuff when it's coming out. But appreciate everybody listening. Have a great weekend. Great, maybe Valentine's Day weekend if you didn't get to go out this week because of snow. But appreciate everybody. See you guys. See you, Trent. See you, Trey.
Hey, see you, fellas. Good talking.
See ya.